Hello, the twins were born. This is Thomas, and this is Michael. And twin life is crazy, which is why I have not done any videos in the last month or more. So I just wanted to hop on here and show you the babies. And I also wanted to tell you about my birth story, but it's just been a little bit crazy. So I'm gonna go freshen up and I'll be right back to tell you a little bit more about how these two joined our family. Okay, well now I feel so much better. I took a shower, got ready. I just wanted to show you that first clip of me with the twins because that's kind of my day-to-day, like, I'm in survival mode, I'll just say that. I definitely don't get ready for the day every day. I do try to get dressed just so that I feel better, but I'm not like always putting makeup on and stuff. But for YouTube, I always feel like when I'm making a video, it's like having people come into my home. And usually when I have visitors in my home, I try to look presentable. So that is why I wanted to freshen up, but I just wanted to be authentic and just show you what twin life is like and how I'm not all done up. Because I know that probably a lot of you are mommies with little kids, and so if you are in your sweatpants and you don't have your makeup on, I'm totally with you and I totally understand that. So I just wanted to show that side of being a new mom. My parents are actually here right now, which is why I only have this one baby with me. My mom and dad are with the other one who wanted to eat, and he's having a bottle right now. But this is Michael. His name's Michael Augustine, and he was baby A. And then the other baby, his name is Thomas Beckett. And Michael Augustine, he is named after Blessed Miguel Pro, who is a Mexican martyr, and he has an amazing story that maybe I'll do a video about another time. And then Thomas Becket, he's named after Saint Thomas Becket, and he was an English saint. So maybe some other time, if you're interested, I could do a video about their patron saints and tell you a little bit more about them. But today I wanted to tell you about my birth story with them. So what happened is I had lots and lots of testing done at the end of my pregnancy with them, just to make sure that everything was fine. When it's a twin pregnancy, it's a high risk pregnancy, so they do lots of tests. One is called a non-stress test, and that's where they put these bands on your belly and they're checking the heartbeat, and they do it for an hour where they're just monitoring the heartbeat of each baby for an hour, just to make sure that the heart rates are doing what they should be, which is to accelerate a little bit every once in a while and then go back down to their baseline. So because I had been going to all of these appointments where we were checking the heartbeats, I knew that both of them had a baseline heartbeat of about like 140 beats per minute. So I was doing this weekly, going to these non-stress tests, and I went to one, and this was a week before I was scheduled to have a C-section. And I was scheduled to have a C-section because baby B, who's Thomas, he was breech, and I did lots of things to try to get him to flip head down because I did not want to have a C-section. But he just was kind of stuck breech. So I was scheduled to have a C-section, and then a week before this C-section, I went in for a non-stress test, and immediately when they put the monitor on the babies, Michael's heartbeat was over 200 beats per minute, which was unheard of. Like, all these tests, it had never been that high, and it was really scary because it was like do 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 do. It was just like, it was scary for me to hear him in distress like that. And so his heartbeat stayed at over 200 beats per minute for like 15 minutes. And the gal who was there doing the test with me, I could tell she was concerned, and she's like, I think you just want a trip to the labor and delivery to be monitored longer. And my doctor peeked in and he said, this is not normal, but let's just watch it a little bit longer and see, like, maybe we just caught him at a bad time, like maybe he's having a bad day, but it necessarily like it doesn't mean he needs to be born today. So then after his heartbeat went back down to the normal range, it started dipping to like 90 beats per minute, which is very low. I had never seen their heartbeats go below like 110 beats per minute. So the dips, that's when my doctor was like, yeah, you should go to labor and delivery, and I think that we should have the babies today. That was his recommendation, was just to have a C-section that day. So it was kind of crazy because my parents were watching my other 4 children at our house, and I, like, when I said goodbye to them, I was like, bye, see you in a couple hours, and little did I know I would be there for a few days. So I called my husband. Well, first they moved me over to labor and delivery and they hooked me all up. And I called my husband and I told him what was going on. And my doctor came in and he said, like, I highly recommend that we deliver them today. And I, of course, like, consented because I didn't want anything to happen to either of the babies. And just the fact that it was pretty clear that Michael was in distress, and that was scary, and I didn't want anything to happen to him, so I agreed that we should do the C-section. And hey honey, so I asked my doctor, I was like, so should we check and see if baby B is still breech, that way I could be induced and have a vaginal birth? And judging by the look on his face, and he's been my doctor for all of my kids, so I kind of knew, I just knew like what he was thinking. And I was like, because of the heart rate issue, you would want me to do the C-section anyway. And he's like, yeah, because when a baby's in distress like that and having heart problems, you don't know how they would handle labor. So I knew that that's what he was thinking, and he was like, yeah, he's like, even if they were head down, I would recommend doing the C-section. So I called my husband, told him we were having the babies today, and he called my parents and briefed them on everything. And so I'm so thankful that my parents were there, and they just kicked into gear and were like, okay, like, we've got the kids, you know, we'll take care of everything. And I of course wasn't ready. I didn't have my hospital bag with me. I didn't have the kids packed for them to sleep over at their grandparents' house. I just wasn't prepared at all. But everyone just really rose up and took care of me and took care of all the details. And I had a hospital bag packed, but it was at our house. It wasn't in the car with me. So my husband ran home, got all the things we needed, and made sure the kids were squared away. And then he came and met me at the hospital. And then within like half an hour of him arriving, I was already being prepared for surgery. And he came and they gave him his little get up, and he looked like one of the Ghostbusters, which was funny. But then we walked into the operating room, and I kind of have blocked out a lot of the whole operating room experience because it was just different from all my other births I've had. They were all, well, one of them I had an epidural with my first one, but the other 3 were completely natural, and I didn't have any pain medicine or anything. Like, that was always my goal for birth. Just personally, that's what I wanted. And so I was able to do that for my last 3 children. So this experience was a complete opposite. And so they gave me the spinal, and then which that was, you know, kind of cringeworthy, but it worked. I couldn't feel a thing. And then they like helped me lay down, and they had my arms strapped out, and I totally felt like Jesus on the cross. And I just they had an oxygen mask over me, and I kept praying the Hail Mary like over and over and over, which is one thing that I love about that we have those prayers as Catholics that are just like memorized and ingrained, because when you're in situations like that and you feel like you don't have the words to pray, you have the words to pray because it's just like so ingrained in your mind. So I just kept saying the Hail Mary over and over and over the whole surgery. And so they were born. They were born at like around 4:30 in the afternoon. And Michael was born first, and then Thomas was born after that, and he was breech still. My husband like looked over the curtain, and my doctor was saying, look, here's his feet. And so they got both the babies out, and they both cried, which was good to hear them cry. And we got to, like, my husband held them, and he went over and looked at them as they were doing the newborn tests and things. So that was basically the birth. And then afterward, that is when things got really bad for me. I was so nauseous, and I guess some women have that experience with C-section. Some women don't. Some women have like a great recovery experience, like it isn't a big deal. But for me, I felt so nauseous and like I could throw up at any moment. And I actually did throw up at least 3 times, and it was really like I had an empty stomach, and I'm like, how am I, what is there to throw up? But I threw up, and it was so gross. And I had abdominal surgery, and so the act of throwing up was uncomfortable too. And I just, because I felt so nauseous and miserable, I didn't really have that desire to like hold the babies and snuggle the babies. And so that was also really hard, because I'm used to, with natural childbirth, like labor is awful, but then after that baby's out, it's like euphoria, and you have just a rush of like hormones and endorphins, and you feel so powerful. Like it's hard to describe, but it's just an amazing, like, just a very raw, amazing experience to go through all that pain. And then it's just complete relief, and you have your baby like on your chest, and it's euphoria basically. And with this, like, labor was nothing, because I didn't really have labor, and the babies were, I've kind of been processing this over the last month, but it's like the babies were kind of just taken from me, which whenever I always cry whenever I think about it, because with natural childbirth, it's like this process that your body's going through to get the babies out, or to get the baby out. And so it's this transition that you're going through where your body is working and you get the baby out, and there's this transition between being pregnant and being postpartum and like having a baby. And with a C-section, and the twins, they were born at 36 weeks, so they're born early and by C-section. So it was like my body was, you know, working on cooking these babies, and then all of a sudden they're gone, and I felt like my body didn't have that transition. I don't know why it makes me cry to say that, but I think that it made it hard to like bond with the babies, if that makes any sense. It also, because I think they're identical. We haven't done a test to like prove that they're identical, but I think that they're identical, because for the first 2 weeks we couldn't tell them apart, and now I'm starting to pick up on the differences between them, and so I can tell them apart now. But still, like, my parents, they can't tell them apart still. So anyway, that also kind of made bonding hard, because the babies would be crying, and I'm like, I don't even know which one you are. Like, who am I feeding? It just was like this big fog and haze. Like, I'm trying to deal with my own recovery, and then these 2 babies need me, and they're like crying, and my body's like, what? Like, where are the babies? Like, they're supposed to be in you still. And it was just kind of a weird transition for me. So that's just my experience with it all. I know everyone else has their own experiences, and it's all unique. And I actually joined a Facebook group for Catholics who've had C-sections. There's a group for everything on Facebook. So this is a Catholic mommy group for C-sections. And I've read in there like people talking about how you can have like PTSD with bad birth experiences, and I don't think I have PTSD, but it's just it was kind of traumatic. And actually for the first I just had insomnia for the first few days, and every time I would try to rest and close my eyes, I would replay the surgery and just being in the operating room. And so that I had a lot of anxiety about that. But slowly, I mean, it's been over a month now, just about a month, well, yeah, just over a month. And I feel like I'm really, like, I'm healing physically, and I'm also healing a lot mentally. So that's really good. The other thing that I wanted to say was that I had a lot of help. My mother-in-law, she came and stayed with us for 2 weeks after the babies were born. And my parents actually, they weren't planning on doing this, but after they saw that I was really struggling, they were like, they just bought an RV last fall. And they're like, can we park our RV in your driveway and we can live there too and help? And I was like, yes, please. Like, I need all the help I can get. So they stayed for 2 weeks. Well, it was about a week and a half also. So my mother-in-law was here, my parents were here, and they like really lifted me up and held me up when I felt like I couldn't function and I just couldn't do it myself. So it's been really humbling to receive the help of others and just to acknowledge that I can't do it all. So I just feel so blessed that I have that social network with my family. And then also after my mother-in-law left and my parents left, I had this meal train kick in from my church, and it's a ministry that's so beautiful. It's called Martha Ministry, and I did a video actually all about Martha Ministry, and I will link it down below and up in the cards. But it's a great ministry where the people in the ministry, they bring you meals for a certain amount of time. So I asked for 2 weeks of meals, and every day someone came and brought us food, and that was so nice. So for the first 2 weeks, my mother-in-law and my mom, and I helped a little bit. We cooked for the first 2 weeks. It was mostly them though. I was pretty much sitting on the couch the whole time. And then after they left, then this meal train for 2 weeks kicked in. So I had basically 4 weeks of me not having to cook, which was amazing. I don't know what I would have done without that help. And I still have people that are like, hey, I'm gonna bring a meal by or a freezer meal. So I have tons of food in the freezer, and just a lot of help. And I really feel like I couldn't do it without all that help. So it's so amazing. So if you know any mommies who have just had a baby or who have had a C-section especially, offer to bring them food, because it's such a gift to get food. And if you can't help in any other way, like, that is a really beautiful way. Just double a meal that you're cooking for yourself and then bring it to a family that has a new baby. It's so helpful. So anyway, that is basically my birth story, and I've been thinking so much about my YouTube channel lately and how I really wanted to share this story with you. And also I have so many other videos that I've been wanting to do. And I also wanted to say hello to any new viewers that I have. I've been gone for like a month and a half. I haven't been making any videos, but I am thinking about all of you, and I'm praying for every subscriber that I have. I really appreciate you watching my videos, and I'm looking forward to making more and to connecting more with you. I will probably be wearing a baby now though in most of my videos, or maybe even two. So anyway, I hope you're doing well, and I will talk to you in my next video. God bless you. Bye.